So, hello everyone. Just final hours before the end of the hackathon. You're all very good that you're still here. You just have to endure one final talk before you can show off what you have been doing for the last 2 days. And so for this final talk, I will be telling you about the business process automation. So for you, those of you who don't know me, my name is Lauri Antalainen. I'm a co-founder of DigiWise. We help companies to think through how to be more efficient, how to improve their processes, how to digitalize, how to automate. And I will be talking to you shortly about this. So, in general, there are eight types of digital waste that we can automate. And I want to give you a short overview of these 8 ways how we lose time, how we are not as efficient as we should be. So the first one is when we manually process data. So whenever in your processes you have a point where you do something manually, so for example, you manually take data from one information solution and then put it into the other, or you take from one Excel, put it into other Excel or whatever system, then you're already doing something wrong, something that can be automated. So let's look at it from the positive side. You're doing something that can be automated, that can be done more efficient. Also, if there's a repetitive usage or kind of handling of data. So let's say that you have some data that you enter into one solution and then you enter the same data into the other solution. So again, this is something that in the year 2023 you should not be doing manually. Also, excessive processing of data, including collection of data. This is something that we see also every once in a while. Actually quite often that people collect data, a lot of effort is put into collecting data, and finally nobody actually uses it, or maybe it just needs it like once per year or something, but people every day work to mark something down that's actually not really necessary. Searching. Whenever you search for something, that's probably like an indication that something is not as efficient as it should be. A typical way or example would be here that, for example, when we organized this event, we had a lot of communication with Robert, and luckily we had this one channel, Slack channel, where we worked, but if we didn't, and then there was like, I would think that, Robert, you send me something, so let me remind myself, where did you do it? So maybe you send it through the email. So I checked my email. No, it's not there. So maybe you sent through the messenger. So I look in the messenger, it's still not there. Maybe through WhatsApp. Again, not there. Then I go back and think, so I'll have to search it with different keyword. And this is the kind of search which is totally unnecessary, something that you should definitely avoid. Low quality and poorly structured data. This is something I see pretty much every day. So in our work, we help companies to think through how they can kind of improve their processes by applying new, better software solutions. And one of the main obstacles is that as many of those companies come from Excel, the data quality in the Excel is horrendous. So we have had, for example, there was this company that had their CRM, their customer database in Excel, and we helped them to apply a relational database solution. And in this Excel, they had these orders from customers, and the most we found that one company's name was written in 8 different ways. Yeah, so there's this company name, Limited, written out, Limited LTD with a dot at the end, etc. So 8 different ways how one company name could be written, and basically this means that if you want to transfer this data, you actually have to manually process each one of the fields, and it takes a lot of time. So this is one of the main obstacles actually, that the quality of the data is poor, and then it also means that it takes more time to search it, more time to analyze the data, etc. Redundant activities in the process, again, something we see quite often. There was this company where they had one member of board, and when we mapped the processes, the board member said that he has to sign approximately 40 documents each day. So I asked him, how much time do you spend doing that? He says, oh, that's easy, it's 2 minutes. And I'm like, so how can you read all those documents in 2 minutes? He tells me that, well, I don't read them, I don't have time for that. And my question to him is that, so why is this signature necessary? If there is actually no actual reason for the signature, and you can think that it only takes 2 minutes, but the problem is that you're not giving these 2 minutes right away. So there's somebody waiting for your approval, maybe 1 hour, but maybe 1 day, maybe 2 days, and the process is stopped. The next step cannot do what they need to do just because there's this signing which is actually not necessary. So whenever there is redundant activities in the process, you want to avoid these. And also, executive communication is something that we see every day. Whenever you haven't thought through how for example, project management happens in your company, there would be a lot of discussion on, so have you already done this? Or can you send me those files? Etc., etc. And all this kind of communication is a huge source of waste. What happens is that, let's say that I'm actually putting some time into some thought process, and my colleague asks me, can you send me this file? In theory, it takes me a minute to find this file, send it to him, and I continue. In practice, it takes me a minute to find this file, I send it, then I go grab a coffee, then I read the news, then I do something else, and maybe half an hour later, I go back to what I was doing. So just because of this one question that I was asked, I waste half an hour. And this happens all the time, and this is something that unless you think about it, you don't really realize that a lot of time is wasted on these kind of things. Waste of people talents is also the kind of final digital waste or something that could be done better. I would say that none of us is meant to take data from one Excel and insert it into other Excel. So whenever you see people doing that, I can already tell you that it's a waste of their talent. They should be doing something else. So these are the kind of the main sources of let's put it this way, that main sources of ideas of how we can automate using AI or other solutions. So you might want to go through your own processes and think through where do you see these kind of wastes. Now, how do we automate? There are basically 3 main steps to do that. First is standardization. In order to digitalize a process, you first need to standardize it. It makes only sense to digitalize standardized processes. Standardization means that there's an agreed way how we do things. You first standardize, then you digitalize, and once this is done, you can automate. So basically what I'm telling you here is that unless you have thought through how you perform the process, you cannot really automate it. Standardization. Standardization is basically agreeing on how we do the processes, what are the steps, what are the kind of indicators, etc. Establishing process standards, roles, making sure we know who is responsible for what step. And there are different examples here. For example, the channels example I gave you already. Using checklists, sometimes very useful to be sure that we don't forget anything. We also agree on what terminology we use, what kind of document standards we use, determining locations, both for items and documents. So whenever your colleague asks you to send some file to them, I can already tell you that something is not as good as it should be. File handling or document handling in a company should be done in this way that if somebody needs some kind of information, number one, they know where to find it, and number two, they have access to it. So these are the ways. First you standardize, then you digitalize. So this means that you kind of the standards that you worked out, you now implement them into the digital ways. So you apply the digital technologies. You make sure that there's a data feed coming out of your processes. So, for example, you introduce the invoices. When you are using Excel and it seems to be the best technology for you to use, you can do a lot of things with Excel instead of putting filters on, which your colleagues have to take out, etc. You use lookups. You can do other stuff there. So there are many different ways. You know about the digital technologies, so I will not go about them longer. And finally, you can start automating. So automation is basically, you can think about it as reducing human component, reducing what people have to do in order to get things done. And there are also many ways to do that. You can replace manual data entry and retrieval. You can join the invoice digitation service. Actually, one of the teams today will show you the solution how they automated customer orders. So yeah, in Excel you can use Excel scripts. There's also other solutions that you can use. But basically, we can, on the longer or bigger picture, we can look at this way that there are three main ways how you can automate using software. One is the software-based process automation, or RPA, robotic process automation solutions. Then there's implementation and integration of data transmission platforms, ADI, API, and there's also artificial intelligence. very quickly about IT architecture. This used to be like the very common model you still see in Estonian companies. There's an ERP system in the middle, a lot of additional developments. Not a good way to go these times. It's very costly. You cannot really get what you want. And this is how you should be thinking of in kind of defining your IT infrastructure of your company. That you have this base database, but you have the custom developments and custom software. So what I'm trying to say here is that whenever you need to automate something, the way to go is not necessarily that you start writing code from scratch. So there are a lot of tools around which can make this task much, much easier. So just starting to write code is not necessarily the right thing to do. Sometimes there are tools which do already what you need. You only need to implement them. You need to make them part of your processes. This way, things are much easier, simpler, cheaper, and you actually have a chance to get rid of the many Excel sheets that you use now. Also, I'm a big proponent of no-code, low-code solutions. How many of you guys know about no-code, low-code? All right, half the people at least, which is very good. Really, if you don't, then I suggest you take your time and get acquainted with these solutions. With my customers, I've seen them work. I see them work really well. And they have really cheaply, really quickly been able to automate their processes without having to kind of order any hard coding. Also, custom software. Here are just a few examples that you see used in Estonia in a lot of companies. There are many other solutions around. New solutions coming out each day. Again, I would say that whenever you need to automate something, or digitalize something, first start looking at what's already there, and only then, if there's really nothing there, then start, first of all, going to the no-code, low-code, and only then the traditional software development. One of the solutions I really suggest you to check out is Airtable. We don't have much time, so I'll go over it also. Zapier, for integration, works really well, and RPA. I will finish my talk with this. RPA is robotic process automation. There are actually tools which enable you to kind of in a Lego way, drag and drop way to automate your processes in your software that you use. Like I said, one of the teams today will be presenting an RPA solution to their problem that they came to solve here. There are many things that you can do with this, and these are the kind of main solutions that I've seen in use in Estonia. But here I finish my talk. Thank you, and thanks. Good luck with your presentations, and I give a word to Robert, who will help you with that. Thanks.
Thanks, Lauri. I'm Robert. I am a product builder from digital product development company DevTailor. And here we are to conclude our 2-day hackathon, building AI and automation products to very various and different industries. Each of the teams will present themselves. Before all of the demos, I would like to thank Estonian Business School, who have been very kind to give us the access to the premises, but also run the live streams. Lauri and DigiWise, Beamline Accelerator, thank you for helping organizing and bringing together a lot of the people here. And Sandra, who connected pretty much everybody here. to put together this team, and all my colleagues from DevTailer who helped in organization and who are here today and also supporting in the background. We have 8 teams. Each of them will make a demo today, and few notes. Here are the microphones. They are mostly for the live stream audience, so don't be too far from them if you're speaking. Each of you can hook your computer, and the picture will jump back there as well as behind you, so you don't have to look what's going on behind you. We will answer 4 questions during the demos. What did you build? How did you build it? Which tools did you use? What did you learn during the process? And what's next for the project that you are building? We're going to time box you to roughly 5 minutes. And there will be questions, answers as well. So let's go. Tele2, you're up first.
So yes, while we're setting up, I'd like to briefly reintroduce our topic or the problem, which was to help the service desk or the call center to make their job a bit easier and to lessen the load they have to bear when facing or like talking to customers. And so this is the solution that the brilliant team came up with. And I'll let Carl take over.
Okay, cheers. Maybe just a few minutes or a few seconds to talk about what we built. It's basically a voice-to-text automation tool which listens to whatever you say and then tries to give you answers based on the Tele2 website and the information scraped from there. We're using Microsoft Azure to recognize Estonian voice and print out text, which you will see in a second. After that, we're using a vector database to basically narrow down the data to search the results from, and then we're using ChatGPT to give us a brief overview of what would be the possible answers to the question the user will be asking. I will be asking in Estonian because we want it to be flashy and do it in Estonian because it's a lot harder than doing it in English. But I will try to explain what's going on. Text is going to be quite small, but let's see how this works. Okay. Yep.
Tere, ma soovin tulla Tele2 kliendiks.
So what's basically happening, I asked it that I would like to become a client of Tele2. On the left or on the right here, you will see basically just links to the Tele2 website, which are basically giving ideas of how maybe to answer the question. As you could see, these were generated instantly. As they are coming straight from the database, we have the scraped data in. And then in the red box here, you will see the answer from the ChatGPT. Let me just see for a minute. Yeah, this time it doesn't really make any sense. Let's try another question maybe.
Mul ei tööta kodune internet, kas te saaksite palun aidata?
Okay, now I asked it about my home internet, which isn't working. Hopefully this one will give a more sensible answer. I can say that the links are more sensible than the previous ones. So, okay, yeah, this is a lot better. So it's basically giving suggestions based on the information that we have scraped from the Tele2 website, that what could be the possible reasons. As Hannes explained, the idea here is to give really quick feedback to the call center workers so that they can answer a lot more quicker, whereas right now they would have to search for the information. Even though it's quite obvious, the answers that it's giving at the moment, I think with better data quality and a more structured approach to the database, we would actually get a lot better results. As at the moment, we have no classifiers. The vectors are quite random, or actually the basic ones that we had. But I think with a little bit of work, we could actually get pretty good results. I see I have 1 minute and 20 seconds left, so I'll do one more, and then I think we can get questions. Or maybe someone from you wants to ask the Tele2 chatbot something. No? Yep. Go ahead.
Milline on kõige odavam teleteenuste pakkuja Eestis?
Sellele. So yeah, the question was, which is the cheaper one, for those who don't understand. But I think...
I'm actually not sure. I don't think it actually took the information from the Tele2 site.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah, it didn't. Because it's built on the help page. So yeah, it doesn't... I don't know where it took it from.
But it actually answered, so good stuff.
The bigger number is good. But just something to add in the final 20 seconds is that most of the work went into the ChatGPT work, but we found that the most helpful was actually the links that it gave, because this is instant, while the GPT answers take quite some time. So for the call center workers, the instant access to links is potentially the most useful and already implementable, I'd say. We tried and tested it. But yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Questions?
Thank you. I think that's really good what you have done. What kind of tool did you use for voice recognition?
The Azure, Microsoft Azure, I don't know the exact name for it, but it was actually pretty easy to set up.
And it seems to work pretty well for Estonian.
Surprisingly. The funny thing about that one was that it didn't actually work too good in Chrome, so we had to use Safari. It worked a lot better. Don't ask me why.
Okay, Aliise.
All right. Oh. Cheers.
Hello, everyone. We were building a solution for the issue, which was the manual data adding to the system. So the issue we had was that the clients were sending the orders, and we had to put these orders to the system manually, and then our task is to make it automatic. So how we did it was we used Power Automate, and this system has this kind of tools inside which can learn the documents and then take the important data out from the documents and put it to the it can put it to the certain structure which can be used in the monitor system. So the whole flow is so that the customer sends the email. The email is taken and added to this flow, and the flow can put it to the model which was pre-trained by the orders that were entered inside this Power Automate, and it can take the important data out of it and generate the XML out of it. So yes, this XML can be used in the monitor system. So you can,
it's basically we made an AI form in Power Automate. For a few examples, we put in 5 customer orders, it gives out the result of 86%. We should put more orders into digit to be even better, but right now it works. And we get the data out from the PDF, and we put it in the flow, compile it to XML, and we send that XML to another email. So we can import those XMLs. Right now it's manual work, but starting Monday we're going to start using this actual flow, and this will be imported to Monitor automatically, because Monitor has that functionality that you can combine email address with Monitor application, and it finds the data inside that email. And the process will be, previously we had to import each line, customer and all the other information manually, but right now in 2 days we made it work, so we can just drag it in. But as I said, starting on Monday, we'll be able to just open the real order inside the Monitor itself. We were planning on also using the REST API on the Monitor side, but we found out that the functionality is already implemented for the XML, so we went the easy route, and at least we can now let one people go from our team. No. We will use his or her brains for better things.
Yes.
And
that's almost it. But so the next step for this tool is to teach it to recognize different orders from different clients, because clients are sending the orders, and this design of the PDFs are relatively different. So each design should be taught differently.
Yes, and for that we made the customer switch between in the flow. So each customer has its own switch, and it's going to send different routes where it's needed to different models. So, yeah. But we are happy. We're going to use it. Yep. Thank you.
Immediate.
Matt.
Right, our team, oh, okay. I'll wait for him to get the thing set up.
You can get to the other side.
So our team was from Quantum Frenzy, and the main goal for the hackathon was to reduce the turnaround for comic artists. And what we actually built was a tool that puts characteristics about the characters and the scenes into an array, and essentially spits out new episode ideas. So there's a shorter turnaround time for the artists. So essentially, previously there was about 2 hours per episode, and we think we can significantly shorten this time just by the descriptions generated. Easier for them to visualize and not have to think about creatively making an episode.
So the flow is really simple. We basically feed it in the previous episode data, the characters, and we just let it generate the new episode ideas based on the previous episodes. It takes some time, but it had some really fun and actually useful episode ideas that we also put down some of those, and they are maybe going to be in the comics.
And the future that we're planning, the future advancement of this is to use it for content creation. So right now at the moment, there isn't so much character relatability, but to build out these characters, them follow the story, and for users to relate with different archetypes. So we think that with this increase in content output, then we can create content for digital avatars and things like this, so customers can actually interact with the characters from the comic books.
So this is basically one option or one episode idea, and as you can see, it also gives you the mood and how the atmosphere is in the scene. And when we click the generate next one, then it should like have the next episode also generated based on the 2 previous episodes then now. So it's taking the account, like into the account things that happened in this episode. Or it should, but it's not perfect yet. Work in progress. But yeah.
Okay, thank you, Bedford.
One is not this.
All good. Wait for the slides coming. Oh, the time is running. Okay, so so our problem was related to the internal knowledge base that we have, Basecamp, where we had over thousands of different documents which we have gathered over 7 years, and we wanted to find a solution to get for our internal team answers quickly from those documents, because in Basecamp you cannot search by the context, only by titles. And if, on the slides, if I would showcase to you the Basecamp, you will have a lot of these acronyms for different projects which we have had over 7 years. So really hard to find information. Perfect. Nope. Let's go here. So we'll go right into the solution. And yeah, take over the technical side of this.
Yes, not much to see about the solution, but some to talk about it. So yesterday we built a data pipeline that took all the files from all the nested folders and also all the emails that were forwarded to Basecamp. And we edited them a little bit in the code and uploaded them to Potastico, which you saw the founder of whom you saw a presentation from on the first day, and I'm also the co-founder. So that was the first day, and here you can see all of the files basically. So what Potastico does is that it takes the source file and it extracts text from it, and then you can chat with a ChatGTP powered agent who has context about those files. So we have this script ready. And today we extended our data work by building a Zapier integration. So now if people upload files to Google Drive folders, then those files will be sent to a Potastico API automatically and then again added to the knowledge base. So mainly what we did is we built data pipelines to implement Potastico in custom workflows.
And then we also tried different formats, as we had
presentations, PDFs, doc, Word files, and we started to go through them by just typing in the different questions and seeing what prompts worked better. Here we also then got the source where the information was taken from. It also, as we have email threads in Basecamp, so you will have text format information to get the context from. Then we also played around with this. We got really good answers. Here the file looked like this in the beginning, in the Basecamp. And then I will actually go into the demo live of the platform.
I will just say that basically these prompts, the idea of them was to understand if the agent is able to retrieve the correct information from the context it has.
Yep. So I will be writing in the first prompt the question. I will also lower the temperature to get as accurate from the files the information. Let's see. The speed of the platform. No pressure. Also might be the Wi-Fi here, right?
Yes. Or it's the demo curse.
Oh yeah, it might be. Okay. So we got the information, and now I actually here I also received already how to exactly from the document. I know the correct history. Yes, let's go that way. And then I knew about the exact that there is information more about how to invest through the market. I will submit the prompt. Let's see.
So you can see that it's working. And just to be specific, you can see that it's working because ChatGTP wouldn't have this information without us providing it.
Yep. And then also receiving the answer. Well done. Let's also jump into, as we have less than a minute left, ways to improve. Maybe you from the technical side.
Yes, so the main problem that we were trying to solve was that in the financial institution or organization, people don't find information and they don't find the answers to their questions. If we can retrieve this information, they also want to know where it came from. So that's why if we could link to the prompt, it would be good, or add links to the prompt. And then also work more on webhooks and Zapier so that the context would get updated automatically.
Yep, thanks for your attention.
No.
Can you use the information that you've got to generate some Twitter feeds to, I don't know, for marketing purposes? I want to sell this, can I have 5 tweets to promote this?
Yes. So, because if you want an explanation, no, you have to program it. So with Potastico, you can do it 2 ways. You can log into the portal and do it manually, just upload your files and use the interface to generate content for you. But what we did, the way we did it was we implemented into a custom workflow. So we used Potastico's API, and we wrote our own code to get the data that you have from different sources and feed it to Potastico. But you can also add to that custom workflow asking prompts and retrieving the result of the prompt and then posting that prompt to wherever necessary. Nobody is interested in price.
Thank you.
Misha, robot process automation.
Hello. So our goal was to simplify and automate the process of car technicians for making price codes to customers. So basically, there is a repetitive task that the technician has to do, and it has to do with looking up the car parts serial numbers. So they use an external web portal to look up the price or look up the details of the part, and they make their price code based on that. So we made a web scraper to try to automate this repetitive process, so we can search for the part's serial number and get it straight away without having to manually look for it. So Misha will show you our product. We don't have an interface. We didn't need it.
In short, yes, you can see that it's a Node.js app because it says npm start. It's using Playwright and Crowley libraries, which are free to use. And currently, I will not be able to show you the web page. Sadly, it is private. But you can see that the logic is here that the first step is loader disappeared, means that the page has completely loaded. It is able to log in on its own using credentials. And there is a thing inside there that you can only have one active session at a time. So if another person is using this same account right now, he needs to be logged out. Luckily, right now it was the thing. So after that, as soon as it gets to the web page, obviously it gets the info easily, and now it can be used later on. So ideally, this is a very small step in a big process. The full flow would be customer giving, or not the customer, maybe not some worker putting in the win code and getting the full price offer for a given car model or whatever. So
yeah, the car technicians use car win codes to search for the parts, but for every car manufacturer, the process to find the specific serial number is a bit different. So we had to customize the flow for every manufacturer.
So yeah, this will save a lot of time, a lot of headache, and will probably save a lot of money and make a lot of money. So if you have any questions.
Super cool demo, by the way. Question is, so the AI will be then used when the customer comes, makes a request, the AI reads it, automatically goes to scraping, and then boom, you have a price for, let's say, a broken part in an Audi A4 from the 2010.
Well,
and then this is the, I guess.
This current project is not as much AI oriented. It's more RPA and automating the processes that would otherwise take quite a while for the person to do, since he has to look up many different links manually and go through many web pages.
Yeah, it's just to simplify the process for the technician, well, for now.
Thank you. Well done.
So guys, this is open data, right?
What exactly is it?
Like the serial numbers.
Yes.
So technically you could just use Scraper and Zapier to connect like the Scraper in your database with Zapier? Or how exactly did you build like this, and why like that?
We use a web portal that has already collected the serial numbers. Yet they are open data, but it's hard to manually search for them on the internet. You will have to search for the technical documents and so on. So there are web portals that have already done that process for us.
In general, the problem is that there is no single unified web page that would give you the part number based on the registration or the VIN code. That's the main issue that people are having. That's why this issue came up, is because the technicians have to go through many different holes and loops to find the answer. And this is the part of automating those searching pretty much.
ESG.
Okay, so we can start. So hello everyone. Our team was focused on developing ESG reporting. So ESG today is very important, and in traditional finance, and a lot of companies, I mean all companies should report that, and ESG stands for environmental, social and governance elements. And so we believe that this is something that we have created and is much more powerful than only the ESG element. So in traditional finance, for example, imagine an advisor or a consultant or anyone. For example, when you go into a bank and you know and you want to know what's happening with your portfolio. So in that case, that advisor needs to go and read like 80 pages for each company, what's going on with that company. So imagine if you just come there, you have 10 companies. So he really needs to be prepared for that meeting. And that is a huge issue for them. And imagine if you want to change the company, okay, but just tell me what's going on with this company. And that's super, I mean, impossible for them. And then imagine if you ask them, okay, what about should I remove this company? Should I add this company? Can you compare them? And so on. So to automate this, a simple process can be developed if you take the reports which are stored in SEC, so the US Securities and Exchanges Commission, and basically feed that to ChatGPT. And then in ChatGPT, you can ask it nice questions. So the good thing is the SEC reports are all structured, so the data is good, it's there. So the only thing you need to do is basically just ask the correct question.
Yeah, and how we built, so we used, there is SEC API available, as already mentioned, so we can get all the necessary data, so basically hold the report, all the text that's mentioned here as a like text format, and we use this one to kind of feed to the ChatGPT as a like custom data, so we can later, in addition to its regular data, also search throughout the additional one. And just to quickly demonstrate, so at first we checked as well, so here's like a question that basically kind of compares like 4 main companies which we fed the report into it. And yes, so, and by that it should generate the full kind of comparison. As you can see, the Amazon didn't have quite perfectly specified everything. So it probably was, but actually the text inside the reports can be pretty vague and hidden somewhere along the line. So this is why the GPT might be a bit like too dumb in that sense to find it out. But it found for Google, Apple, and when we try to, like with a ChatGPT version that's in live, it usually said that it's only reading based on the 2021, and it missed some things that were mentioned actually in the reports. So this is how we kind of realized that it's actually working. And yep. And
for the future.
And during the process, main thing that we learned actually is how important is like all the like data like splitting and also adding to the text like some context a bit more, because at first it was actually much dumber. And quick comment, yeah, because actually it would take a bit more time, but yeah, there is some like cache built in which is kind of made it a bit faster at the moment. Yeah, and the future plans, I guess.
So the future is basically, you can imagine like a digital consultant or something like that. So basically you just come there, ask it, okay, which is, I want to, for example, focus on the environment. Give me 10 companies which are the best for the environment. And then it writes the report for you. The other thing is, I think if you put in a methodology, for example, to rate the companies, you can make a very useful tool for rating exactly what you want, but that requires another prompt. And so I think those are, the best thing is, of course, you can rate one company, analyze multiple companies, compare companies, and of course, the main thing is, I think that, SEC has a lot of reports. So you have 10Ks, 8Ks, 8Qs, and so depending on the report you want to input, and depending on what you want to get out of it, you can just input the different data and basically talk to it and figure out what's the best or what's the worst, so you can cut it out. Thank you.
How did you feed the info to ChatGPT?
We used, basically we used the knowledge gathered from various conferences, and there was one repository that actually helps us with that. So it basically embeds the whole new information and indexes it based on the prompts, indexes and embeds the information into it. So later when we ask the question, it kind of goes over, in addition to ChatGPT's original data, it also goes over the indexed version of the documents that we provided. So and the repository is publicly accessible. It's open source, so it can be used to help as a middleware in that sense.
What's the name?
It's LLM app. Oh. Yeah.
Andres?
All right. So we did our project in collaboration with Beamline Accelerator and their green tech and sustainability focused startup accelerator. And the challenge that was being faced by both the accelerator themselves, but also a lot of the portfolio companies, is essentially twofold. So there's the sales process where you're trying to find new customers, especially as a startup, you always are trying to find more customers. But also as the accelerator themselves, you have to find new startups that you could invest in, and also potential investors that will invest in your fund. So for that purpose, finding new sales leads is very important. But so what's the challenge? If you go and find sales leads through traditional channels, such as sales intelligence platforms, is that you can find good leads, but also a lot of times it can be very restrictive and limiting for different reasons. And what we came up with is an approach where we take the initial data from a sales intelligence platform, but then we analyze and enrich it ourselves through the use of AI. And I will let Andres explain how the product works then.
Yes, as you can see, we have a pretty basic form. The first step, we query Apollo IO, which is a pretty big company database.
Yeah, one of the biggest sales intelligence providing platforms.
Right, one of the biggest company databases. We query the companies using the keywords that we input and some more limiting fields. We get a list of let's say 50 companies, and we feed that data to ChatGPT. We give the main context ChatGPT uses is a short description of the company, and with that context, it tries to, well, we actually command it to create an estimation of how relevant that company is to those keywords that we input. And we command it to also give an explanation as to why those keywords are, why this company is relevant to those keywords.
And I guess we can just look how it actually works. I don't see my mouse here. Now I see it. So it is pretty slow at the moment, so I'm going to just use the results that we have cached here. So what you can see here, I hope you can see it. Oh yeah, I guess you can. The score of 10 is the most relevant in terms of the keywords, and the green text that you see, that is the explanation that ChatGPT actually gave for giving the score of 10 for let's say insects. And just to like see what else ChatGPT found, not just ChatGPT, but Apollo found those companies which actually ChatGPT found that didn't actually have anything to do with those keywords. Like we used alternative proteins, but some of them actually don't even work in the food industry. So I guess ChatGPT actually managed to provide some value. So that's how I.
And in future, we can also expand this to start including other data sources, such as checking the company website, which we already did like a small prototype for as well in Python, and also potentially other data sources, as well as starting to use different keywords based on which companies you've successfully been able to identify. So you want more of a specific kind of company, then we enrich the keywords that we search for as well. So we find more results, and also we narrow them down, so you find the most relevant ones.
Yeah. Alrighty.
No salespeople in the audience.
Thank you.
Right.
So we came here to fix the problem of building owners where they have thousands of documents and it's really hard to navigate through the documents and find the right ones. And we created a software here that automatically indexes our documents if they are uploaded to the S3 bucket. They extract the unstructured data and create from that data the vector embedded database and put it to the Elasticsearch database. After that, the files are already semantic, full text, and filterable, searchable and filterable. And if we search the files, then the best result from the semantic search will be sent to the language model, which tries to answer the question that search input asks. For example, here, I can already search from my search interface either file names, extensions, file names, whatever. But also I can ask questions from search engine. Like, for example, what construction works were done in January, and it will find out all the related documents from our database, and language model tries to answer that it was some painting works and some other works, and it uses to answer that question one document of thousands, this PDF file. It extracted information from here, from here, and so on. So it understands the contextual about the document. Also, what we made different is, yes, there are tools, like something similar already there, but in a buildings, we have a lot of files that usually are not indexable, like AutoCAD files. In our case, we were able to index as well the drawings, technical drawings, BIM files, and so on, using different tools available in the internet. Our goal is not to answer the questions, because our software is used usually by engineers who are like building managers and technical background. They don't want to ask simple questions from the chatbot. Our goal is to put the files right where they should be. For example, if the engineer opens the interface for one technical system, it automatically lists related files there. As the first presenter told us, searching files is a huge digital waste, and this is something we are going to fix. At the moment, we are doing post-processing with the language model, but we actually going to move the post-processing to the pre-processing in the indexing phase to extract all the contextual and factual data from the files and add those data points to the index, so we can quickly list the files where they should be in our web interface.
Thank you for the presentation. So if you use computer vision, technically, it can scan those plans and it could actually make the context of, right?
Yep, it scans all the files. Either is it PDF file, whatever email, whatever files, it scans all the files. It uses OCR AI if it's needed. And, well, yeah, basically all the files are already supported, and it does handle the scanned picture files as well.
Thank you.
All right. All the teams happy? Great. So, as you saw, each of the 8 teams was actually able to accomplish a working solution, maybe limited in scope, but in some cases something that they will start using on Monday in production to let go of one person. So sorry for that, whoever you are. I hope you're watching the stream. And that concludes the hackathon. I'm sure that there was lots of good networking, lots of good relationships built, new friends, lots of ideas to take forward on Monday. Some friends who are real, some friends who are digital, that joined some of the sessions as well. It was great fun. And I'm super happy that you are all here. The turnout was at least as good as expected, if not better. And most of you were able to endure until the very end on a Friday evening. And lastly, I would like everybody give an applause to yourselves that you made it and you hacked through the hackathon. Thanks again, and we.
Thank you for setting up the hackathon. It's nice. Other people try to do hackathons, like, okay, what are we going to do inference on? So it was really good. Thank you very much for setting that.
So. This was the second time around we had the hackathon. This one is more than double the size of the previous one. If we're going to keep doubling, then in 10 years, all of Estonia is going to participate. Thank you, and see you next time.